Hey guys, I'm Sylvester. Um, if you're watching this, you are likely about to watch my new and first episode of my podcast. It's called 2 Years from Now. So, 2 years ago, I was living in Copenhagen, about to graduate, and I had a dream of moving abroad. I had a dream of a life in Spain, particularly. I had no clue how to make it possible. I had no clue how I could find a job, especially because I was not fluent in Spanish. I'm still not, but I can get along. Um, Not only to tell my own story, but actually also to tell other people's stories. If you're curious on a life abroad, if you're curious on different culture, if you're curious on personal growth, then this is for you. And I hope you enjoy because I had a lot of fun making it. The next 41 minutes of your life, you have the opportunity to learn what a Spanish guy learned from or was taught from living 5 years in the Nordics. You get the opportunity to understand how an extroverted was dealing with a introverted culture. Um, Also, you will get to know why you shouldn't become a, a Finnish citizen before you've turned 32. You'll hear two guys talk about going through loneliness and why that's a valuable lesson. And lastly, you will hear why Nacho, the guy you're about to meet, why he made more female friends after moving to the Nordics. I hope you enjoy.
Let's go, Nacho.
So you
I
just started?
hope this is gonna be.
Stop recording. No, start recording.
It's recording, and I hope this is gonna be. I hope this is gonna be working because
Man, I think you're very lucky
Uh-huh.
that you chose such a patient guy as myself.
I'm a very lucky guy.
No. I'm kidding, but I'm completely fine with this.
Okay.
Because actually, you know what I was thinking right now?
Mhm.
I was thinking, how much it cost you all this setup?
Yeah.
How much it cost you?
Uh,
More than 50?
90 euro. MacBook over there. I didn't buy.
No,
that
the
for
Mac,
you,
the
and,
MacBook, no,
and
but
a phone and a tripod. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it cost
maybe
yeah.
40, 50, 60 euros, and like I don't know, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
so don't worry, man. Like I'm having a blast.
For the audience out there, we were moving a bit around here. Then we actually already started, and I realized I didn't record, so that's a good start. And I think we are ready now. And
it's
again,
very hot.
I'm very happy to have the most patient guy on the planet for the first recording. Nacho, welcome to my rooftop. We're sitting on my rooftop, and we're gonna talk today about your experience of living abroad. This podcast is something I've made, and it's something I could call 2 years from now, and I kind of want the name to like invite you to imagine where you could potentially be in 2 years from now, and like as a starter, I have one unique question that will only be able to ask you, no matter how many of these I make, and that is unique question for you. How does it feel to be the first guest in my new video podcast?
Feels good. Feels good. It feels when you told me to come here, and I felt very obliged. I felt very thankful, and yeah, I think we have pretty matching energies in the sense that we like to do new things, and we don't care when we're doing something new if something starts going wrong or starts not. Okay, we are able to change perspectives and adjust fast, and I think that's and we kind of keep calm while you're doing it. So I'm thankful for it, and I'm having a good time kind of meeting you and being here, and yeah, it's amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. you are Nacho. You are from Madrid. 30 years old.
30.
30
Yes.
years old.
Yes.
Not 13. And you have lived in Finland, particularly in Helsinki, for 5 years. Why of all places you could go? Why did you go to Helsinki?
Well, it's a kind of long story. I don't want to bore you too much, but basically it was a kind of a chance. So I started doing a master's degree, and basically during my bachelor's I didn't have the opportunity to do Erasmus or anything. I came from a kind of very conservative family that they really, Spain is very typical in the culture. Kids stay at home, they don't go out too much. My brothers, they left the house when they were 30 something. So for my family to kind of go abroad, it was a kind of a big thing. So I didn't have the chance to go to Erasmus. And then I had to do a master's degree. I was like, okay, if I am going to do a master's degree, maybe the best thing to do is to do a international master's. So I started looking, and I found this EIT Digital master's program, which is it was quite cool, and it completely changed my life because it was all about my bachelor's is engineering degree, and in this master's you kind of match engineering and innovation and entrepreneurship. So you're moved to different universities, and you are also pushed to kind of learn how to innovate and have this kind of entrepreneurial mindset of doing new things and kind of public speaking. So when I got the chance to be inside this masters, I had to choose. No, and the first year I chose Madrid because I was thinking, okay, maybe is this really that good? I was not really trusting it. And then the second year I took the map and I saw that Finland was the most farthest away place. So I thought, okay, let's go there.
Let's go there.
So I chose Finland only because of chance, because of in the map how far away it looked. And it happened to be one of the best universities in the whole program. There were 500 people that applied at the same time as me, and everyone wanted to go there apparently. And I got the chance and I took it and I went there, basically.
That's cool. And it was free?
It actually was financed by the European government. So yeah, so basically when I started, I was a bit skeptical about, is this gonna be free? Like I've been paying tuition all my life. Even in Spain, public university, it's expensive, no? So, but because of this European program, you have to apply, do some interviews, do a lot of documentation and work, and then you get in, and once you get in, like, you're paid for kind of studying. So that was the amazing part. Even my father didn't believe it when I was getting paid for studying. Yeah.
When I talked with you before, it also sounded like you went there because you wanted to get away.
Yeah.
Get a break or try something new. Or
yeah, as I told you, I've been in a pretty conservative family. I've been all my life kind of in the same groups, but the thing is that I'm the youngest of four. We're four siblings, and all my older siblings, they've been traveling around, and they've always told me, hey, you need to travel, you need to leave house, you need to do other things, and kind of. And I didn't really know exactly what they were talking about, but as soon as I walk away from Spain, and I completely understood how going outside of your comfort zone kind of helps you grow as a person and helps you understand how taking challenges is it's actually something good, because it will make you grow, and it shouldn't be taken as something scary to do something that you don't know how to solve, really, because you will figure it out.
Did you feel it was scary to go?
At the beginning, I thought it was. Well, the thing is that when I went there, I went with my friends, but still, there's some particular challenges that they were quite. I've never solved how to. When I arrived there, we didn't have any furniture in our house, so we had to figure out, okay, how do we find a fucking bed to sleep? No, so the first 2 days we were sleeping on the ground. We brought like sleeping bags, and we were sleeping on the Actually, a friend of mine didn't got the keys until like some a weeks ago. So he came to my house and he was sleeping in my room with me, So this kind of stuff. And then for like a week we were going to IKEA like, at least 2 times. Then we were also buying furniture from second-hand shops, but you solve it, man. That's the thing. And when you're raised in such a environment that everything is taken care for you, you stop growing. And that's the thing about. Sometimes it's better to just like leave home and figure out life by yourself.
Did you feel like your life here, that everything was taken care of and everything was like easy?
For somebody, this kind of a particular thing about Spain, which maybe in northern countries, that was actually something that I kind of figured out when I was being there, that it was completely different. But in Spain, it's very common to leave home when you are 30-something, because the salaries in Spain are not big enough to kind of afford your own house. Or kind of living from rent, to rent your own apartment and having enough money to save, which in northern countries is much more common. Also, I think here the culture is more about living life, spend your money, going every weekend for parties or with your friends to the cinema, to restaurants, and then when you go to the Nordic countries, on the weekend it's just to relax at home. Is to maybe you go for a picnic if it's summer, which doesn't happen. I mean, here you do it, but every weekend you're like going out and spending money. And now that I came back from there and seeing how much money all my friends spend, because I mean I'm 30 and my friends are 30 also, and they're spending.
And you were 24, 25 when
I left. I was 24.
Okay.
Yes. So the thing is that you see how. I kind of learned to become kind of a Finn person in some way, Finnish culture. So you don't spend that much money. You really look a lot to the money that you spend there. And now I came back here and I see with my friends that they are all going out Friday, Saturday, and even Sundays. They are like doing, day stuff. They not parties, but just go to a restaurant, go to a park, having some beers somewhere. I don't know, going. We are doing stuff all the time, and I'm so busy, right? Like I have so many things all the time that I don't even have time. I feel sometimes I don't even have time to even think about myself. Which I thought I used to have when I went in Finland. I had a lot of moments where I was by myself in my own apartment, sometimes feeling lonely. But I had the chance to reflect on myself and think, okay, what am I doing? Do I feel good about what I'm doing, about where I'm going, about my personal relationships, about everything? And now sometimes I don't feel I have that time. I think Madrid or Spain, maybe it's Madrid, it's goes so fast, everything. Working life here, it's so you finish work at 6. In Finland I was finishing work at 4. Yeah.
Interesting. If we go back to before you went there, how much time did you spend preparing, like getting everything done to do it?
It took me some time actually. For example, I was applying when in the place where I was living there, it was state financed or university financed place where I was working, where I was living, and I had to apply like 7 months before, and I was in a queue that I was waiting for to get our place. So it took me some time. But also I think because I was going through with this master's program, the university where I was arriving, Aalto University, they were sending us a lot of documentation that we could read about it. But also Finland is a very good place because Finland, the thing is that they are 5.5 million people.
then
in
I
the
think
whole
they're
country.
smaller than Denmark, actually.
They are smaller
Wow.
than Madrid. They are smaller than the community of Madrid. There's more people in Madrid than the whole Finland.
And probably more than... How many people live in Madrid?
In Madrid, I think it's 6 million and a bit more than 6 million.
Okay.
In the community
If
of
my-
Madrid,
if
not
my-
in the city of
If
Madrid.
my internal Wikipedia is right, I think Denmark is around 5.5 or 6, but I'll have to check up what's big on Madrid.
Denmark?
Yeah,
Denmark?
like population-wise, yeah.
Then the whole Denmark.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, Copenhagen, I think around 1 million, and then
That is crazy.
around 6
Do,
million.
do,
in
do you
total.
guys have do you guys have the military how you say it, like the military preparation? Or
Yeah.
The-
In Danish, we call it værnepligt. Yeah,
Violent
værnepligt. We go that. Yeah, you have to. You draw a number, and then you can be lucky or unlucky. I was actually okay. This is another story.
Tell
But
me this, tell
I
me.
was actually unlucky, and I didn't want to go to military, and I took the number, so I had to go. Then I went into I had to go to like a doctor check. What do you call that? Yeah, medical check.
Medical check.
Yeah. And I because I didn't want to go, and they looked at me and they asked me, "Do you even want to be here?" I was like, "No." Okay, and they were like, "Do you have any illnesses?" And I have eczema.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some kind of
for,
like
skin, for my
dermatitis.
skin,
Yeah.
which is not prohibiting me for going to the military, but the medical staff there was just like, okay, we will write that you're not that you're not able to do this, and you'll
Really?
yeah.
Wow. that person saved you.
Yeah, exactly. I was happy. So I went out there, and they were like, "How did it go?" And I was like, "I was disqualified." Oh, I was disqualified. High five.
So how much time, if you had to go, how much time would you had to spend there? Like 1 year, 1 year and a half, 2
I
years?
think it's half a year.
Half a year.
I think so.
So it's like the cadet.
but
like
you also
the
get like salary and like
yeah.
But yeah. I hear
It's kind of similar
yeah.
to Finland. I haven't done it, but when I was in Finland, I was messing around because at my job, because in that time I was going out with I had a Finnish girlfriend, and
No, interesting.
things looked pretty serious in that moment, and they were joking. Okay, maybe you need to you marry her, and a friend of mine told me, if I become like a Finnish citizen before I'm 32, then I might be called to actually do the Finnish military. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I need to wait a bit. Yeah. Although part of me thinks it would be cool. I wouldn't like to waste, half a year, 1 year. I think there is 1 year or 1 year and a half, depending on where you are assigned. Yeah. I don't know.
Military. That's not my thing. I get the part about getting disciplined, but I think I hope I learned that elsewhere. Anyway, I would like to hear more about like, so there is this phase of preparing, going to the Nordic, going to Finland, going to Helsinki particularly, and then there is actually arriving there and being there. Was there? You mentioned before that you wanted to go there with a very open mind and try to take it as an experience, embrace it. But I think every time we do things in life, we have some expectations. How did you feel like your expectation was and the actual experience of being there?
Well, the thing is that when I was 24, 23, I was very mindless, I have to say.
What does that mean?
In the sense that I was not caring too much about what things that were coming. Of course, sometimes even like my friends, I was doing actually researching things because my friends, they were talking about it or researching about it, and they were like, "Have you saw this about Finland?" Well, maybe I was not looking at it too much because, and I think it's kind of my personality. When I see something in the near future, like for example a deadline, I think this kind of a method that I kind of developed to not get nervous about stuff is just completely erase it from my mind. So in this sense, maybe I think I didn't really put any expectations or not too many expectations. I really didn't know how it was gonna be. I didn't thought about how it was gonna be. I didn't really research anything about the Finnish culture. And when I arrived there, it was a surprise in many ways how different the cultures are.
Okay, how are they different?
Well,
You mentioned before a bit about like introversion versus extroversion.
Exactly. That's one way. That's one thing. No, I mean, if you compare Spain, even in the map of Europe, Spain and Finland, they are the opposite. No, I think Finland, it's a wonderful place for introverted people. So if you are introverted, especially if you're from Spain, Portugal, or some Mediterranean culture, and you are introverted, go to Finland, because you're gonna see what it's really introversion. You're gonna really see how people are really introverted, and you're not gonna feel that much introverted. But apart from that, people there, or the system, how the educational system, it's set up in a way that everyone is forced or recommended to push themselves to do public speaking, to do a lot of social or communal life in which you need to be or help into different communities, no? And this kind of develops your social mindset of realizing that, yeah, you're part of a community. Even if you don't like that, human beings live in communities, they live in cities, they live in towns, they live in or they cooperate inside a business, no, inside companies, no. So that's what kind of helps you. And what I really like about Finland is how mindful they are about being introverted, and how you are not pushed many times. Or, for example, one thing that I realized as a Spaniard when I arrived there is, as a Spaniard, we are used to interrupt the other person. If you're speaking in a conversation, you would be interrupted.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, you know, no. So, and you need to fight many times for the space to actually make your point, your argument. In Finland, that is seen as the most or the worst way of being unpolite. Okay. You are seen very unpolite, and that actually kind of happened to me when I was working there. The first years, so I went there for studying, and then I kind of started working. And first few months, or I don't remember exactly when it was, but when we were discussing about stuff related with the project that I was developing for my master thesis, I used to interrupt my colleagues. And one time my boss took me apart after that meeting, and he told me, Nacho, or Ignacio, I know you come from South, I know how you guys are there, but be mindful that interrupting someone here, it's not seen very well. And I was like shocked. I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. So afterwards I went to my colleague Iro, and I said, hey Iro, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. He was like, don't worry, it's completely fine. And from there I kind of something changed in my mind, and I start becoming, whenever someone is talking, become silent, and give feedback, your face, with your eyes, talking with your posture, even though they are very cold, but
I think this is really interesting, obviously, because it's similar to where I'm from.
In Denmark, it's the same.
Yeah, it's similar. It's also more like I feel like people are more listening, or more like waiting for your part of the conversation. But of course, we also go to bars, and we also get crazy and go drunk and everything. So like we're not like super different in that regard. But it sounds like you had a really positive experience with the introversion, like the introverted experience. Yeah. But I would like to turn it around now and ask you. So this extroverted culture that we experience here, what would you say is like the benefit of it, or the charm of it?
The charm, man, that's a very good question. I have to admit that I'm not a big fan of it. I feel that here I think everyone wants to speak because everyone wants to be heard. And as you said, it's the opposite in Finland. People is not that they wanna be heard, but they wanna listen to their person. They are very curious what the other person is gonna say. And if you're in a group of people, people are waiting when you're silent for like 5 minutes, people are waiting, and the moment you speak a bit, even someone that has been speaking all the time, they shut up and they let the other person speak. So here, I don't know. I mean, I guess here it's more about getting feedback. I guess from my experience with Finnish people, sometimes you struggle getting feedback of things. Everything maybe is a bit very telegraphic, and so it really feels sometimes that that people here might not be listening to you. They don't really want to, or they don't really express that they've been thinking of what you're saying. You know, they don't take the time to be silent in a conversation. That's something very, I don't know if you noticed, but Spanish, when they speak in English, they say a lot. So yes, because and
No
that's
silence.
Yeah, no silence. And in Finland, it's the opposite. People in Finland, you ask them a question, and they like Elon Musk does that a lot. I don't know if you noticed, but Elon Musk likes to stay. They ask them a good question, and he stays like that, thinking, and then he answers. And in Finland, I learned how to do that.
Okay.
I learned how to, sometimes people ask good questions, and you just think a bit about it. And you don't need to speak too much. No? And here, doesn't happen. Not many times, at least.
That's valuable. Can you feel that difference from before you went and when you came back here and you were hanging out with the same people? Could you feel it that you changed a bit?
I mean, I've been here for I'm gonna make 2 months I think in 4 days. I'm gonna make 2 months, and I already have felt how I've been changing into that particular mindset. But the first weeks, I was feeling it. I was hanging out with my friends, and we were talking about something, and it was impossible. Like sometimes I was just silence, waiting for them. Okay, can I speak?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so it was a bit, but I mean, it is how it is. You don't take it personal.
I was studying a semester in San Diego in California, and what I learned there is that they ask you how are you, and you should not go deep. You should not talk about your feelings.
No, that's the same in Spain, no?
Hola,
¿qué tal?
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. ¿Y tú? And then it's not like, oh, it's a rainy day. Oh, I had a tough day today. No. Don't go that path.
That is very true. In American, they are like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like in Spain, it's the same. Sometimes they ask you, hola, ¿qué tal? And you say, bien, ¿y tú? And they are like surprised. Oh, you answer back.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I would like to, for the people, or for the potential people that are watching this, listening to this, that may be from Spain or having a dream of going north, your process of settling there. You mentioned before, you came to an apartment that was basically empty. You slept on the floor for the first period. Tell me about how did you find an apartment? How do you meet people? How do you settle?
Well, I mean, it's easier in my way. On my side, for my particular situation, it was easier because I went through a master's program. So they were expecting us. No? So we had an apartment. Of course, it was empty. But the thing is, for example, in the university life in Finland is very particular. I think it's common in other Nordic countries, at least in Sweden it's very typical. I don't know in Denmark, but there are guilds in universities. And these guilds, they are divided by majors, so not by majors, by schools. So schools of science, the school of economics or business, they are different. The guild has a different uniform or a different overall, and when you arrive there, you are contacted by these people, and they tell you, hey, we are part of your kind of university. We have a guild room. Come by and we can introduce you. So you go there with your friends. In my case, I was with my friends, and they kind of make these guides in which they take you around the campus. They show you around, and so in that sense, I was already part of a
guild is like a community.
Yeah, a guild is like a community that you take part of, and it's in this situation, it was just from the university,
Uh-huh.
But as I told you, it was 5 years, so this was the first year, because my second year of master's degree was there.
Mhm.
But then I finished my master's, which I was kicked out of campus,
Mhm.
so I had to move out from my
Kicked out of
apartment.
campus.
Yeah, basically, because I mean,
get you.
I was living in an apartment that
Yeah.
I was paying 300 euros a month to
Mhm.
live there with everything included, except food.
Mm.
So living like the apartment, water, electricity.
Mm.
There were people, there were people training using GPUs
Mhm.
to mine Bitcoin
Uh-huh.
with the electricity of the apartments, because it was for free,
Uh-huh.
and people were just spending, buying GPUs and doing that. So, but it lasts as much as you last in university, and I graduated. So then afterwards, okay, you are not part of the guild, or you have some friends from the guild, but you're far away, so you need to find other ways to find people.
Mm.
And the way I did it, what I realized, and this is something that I learned from living abroad, and especially from Finland, how much effort they put in kind of make you realize, or make people realize, that there are communities. We are humans, and they are part of communities. You can take part of these communities. So, even though it's an individualistic country, like all the university life goes around communities and being part of something bigger, no? So I took that thing that I learned, and I said myself, okay, where can I go? Where's the kind of people that I want to meet? So I was a bit homesick, so I realized, okay, maybe I can join a salsa club.
Mhm.
So I joined a salsa club, and I started learning how to dance salsa.
Really?
It's kind of,
In Finland?
yeah.
Spanish guy learning that in Finland?
Yeah, everyone was telling me, oh, you must know everything. I'm like, no, not at all, man. Like,
exactly.
but you will be. The thing is that Finland, it's one of the countries from the world that whenever there has been some kind of war somewhere, they've taken a lot of refugees, because Finland has such a low amount of population that they really benefit, or they really want people from other countries to come to Finland, stay there, be part of their culture, how you say, throw the roots, or like grow roots in the country, settle,
Yeah.
exactly, settle, and then 1 or 2 generations after, it's that you're completely finished, so
Finnish.
so but the thing is that, so there's, because of that, there's a lot of Cuban people there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So because there's so many Cuban people, there are small communities where they teach salsa very well,
Okay.
and they are Cuban, and they organize parties that, like where I was living, in Helsinki, there was one street away a restaurant where every 2 weeks they would do a gig, like a live concert of salsa, and you could go there and dance. And they were Cubans, and I was going there, and I was kind of talking with everyone like in Spanish, because they're Cubans. And they were bringing friends from Cuba, and then like a specific. It was amazing. So being part of communities, I would say, of kind of finding your communities of things that you like. For example, I was part of a techno community, a part of a skateboard community also. So I was meeting people there, and some people you vibe with them, some people no, and that kind of helps you to make new friends.
Right. I think it's really valuable learning to go through when you move to another country, that you have to actively do something in order to meet people. Like, you have to engage in communities, events, because the alternative is being lonely. And we also, a bit before we talked a little bit about that, I felt in Spain some periods of loneliness also when I was studying in US, and it also sounded like you also had your periods in Finland of not having so many people to connect with.
Yeah. Finland, especially during winter, because it's so dark. Denmark, I don't know how many, but in Finland, you like proper winter, like December. There's maybe 1 hour of light, which is not light. It's just like a bit. You see the sun a bit on the horizon, no? But in those days, especially in December, you are very. It's a very challenging moment, and as you said, you feel lonely. But Man, I think that my brother told me, one of my brothers, he has traveled all around the world. He has been in many different places, and he has been felt lonely too. And he was telling me, you just need to learn how to be lonely. It's difficult, and of course loneliness is not an easy thing to go through. And
Why do you think that's important to learn to be lonely?
I think feeling loneliness is not good, and I think if you're not aware of that, if you're not used to being lonely, you will feel it like, okay, you're feeling bad, you're feeling down, but not everyone can cope with loneliness. But it's something that you can learn to live by yourself. And I don't know if you heard this famous thing, that phrase, that once you learn how to be by yourself and being lonely, then it's actually difficult to be like more social and be part of something.
Relate to that actually. Yeah. Interesting.
You learn how to have your own lonely times.
Yeah.
Where you can listen to yourself.
Yes.
And I think this is what my brother was kind of teaching me. That he was telling me, man, just learn how to be lonely. It sounds bad, but it is how it is.
It's with a lot of things, it's super valuable to go through.
Although I believe one thing, and is that it is more challenging to learn this if you're a woman.
Okay.
I feel this is based on conversation I had with one of my ex-girlfriends, that she's Finn, and but in general I've always felt that women kind of are way more social, and because they are more social, they that might be a clue that they actually need to recharge more that social battery that we all have. So, and actually that's something how I make more women friends in Finland than men friends. Why? Well, I felt that I could bind or vibe with them more because they were more extroverted than a Finnish man. You know,
right.
Finnish men are a bit more distant. Finnish woman, okay, they are a bit more social. That's something that I've kind of learned. Of course, I'm not a scientist or sociologist, but that's kind of the feeling that I've gotten.
That's interesting. Time is running. It's been a really interesting conversation, Nacho. For the people that are watching this, that have the thought of going north, we've touched upon it already. But what would you tell them?
Well, you wanna go north, just be mindful that there's not too many hours of sun in the north, no?
Essential advice.
Yeah. So just if you're a Spaniard, or you're someone from the Mediterranean, and you wanna go to the north, if you really depend a lot, your mood kind of vibes a lot with the sun, man, maybe it's not the best place to go.
Okay.
But for me, myself, it wasn't that case, because I've been always like a very indoor person. That comes from my family. My family is from the north of Spain, which is very rainy. So it's in that sense, I've always been a house guy. I always like to stay at home, read my books, paint, play video games, be with my family, or being in my friend's house. And I feel if you're that kind of person, you might vibe more with the kind of culture or the kind of things that you will do there, because when you're in Finland or when you're in the north, at least in Helsinki, the plans that you do 70% of the year is, okay, let's go to this museum, and from the museum we go to the supermarket. So the supermarket, we're going to this guy's house, and then from there we're going to the party in this other person's house. Of course, in summer that doesn't happen, but summer it lasts for like 2.5 months. And it's not actually summer, it's spring for a Spaniard. Summer that is spring. So be mindful of that. But on the other side, just if you really value politeness, curiosity, openness, I think that's a right place to be. Also, if you plan to work there,
Mhm.
just be mindful that you're not gonna get rich there because you pay so much taxes. But on the other side, you don't need to worry about anything. For example, I started working when I was in, and 3 weeks later from when I started working, I had to go to the hospital, and I was for 1 week in the hospital, and they took care of me. Everything was taken care, and just because I was a taxpayer, so because I didn't have to pay anything. So that's a good thing. That okay, you pay taxes, you are taken care of.
Yeah.
You having kids there, it's you actually make money because they pay you when the child is born.
Yes.
But you don't and you don't pay for the kindergarten. You don't pay for school. So there are many good things there. But of course, if you just wanna make money, maybe it's not the best place to be. It's different mindset.
I was asked earlier today actually how it is to grow up in Denmark, and I said it's very grey, but everything is working. System is working really, really well, but it's like two good months a year, and then the rest is just.
But it's some people like that.
Yeah, exactly. And we've already talked about like it's also good to have like there is value in those periods as well, and I think it invites you also to look in, like to reflect and to be like introverted, and like it invites you to like get in touch with yourself as well. Again, Nacho, time is running here. Where do you see yourself in 2 years from now? What are you doing? Where do you see yourself?
2 years from now. 2 years from now. Well, I just arrived here in Madrid after 5 years, so I think I'm gonna stick around for some time here. I would love to buy a house. I'm 30, so I'm already thinking of buying a house. So for me, I think I will be here, hopefully, if not in 3 years, living in my own house, and then from there, kind of listening to myself, thinking what is the next step, and from there, maybe going abroad. As I told you before, I would love to work in the USA, in New York. So that's another thing, but I don't see myself in 2 years living there. So I guess just staying here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure. It was nice to hear your story.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was amazing. Thank you.
Great. Amazing.
Okay. Hopefully